Welcome to Art of Wellness with Sema and Naomi.
Welcome.
We are very excited to film this episode today.
I think so also because I love to record episodes when I feel something and I'm not just like choosing a topic to talk about. And today I feel something and it's
Yeah.
alive and it's easier to talk into something that is alive. Help him. Good Guido. Okay. We just had Senor Guido coming in saying hi.
He almost tripped over the computer cord and
He's
broke
a
the
part
laptop.
of this whole setting and he's so welcome.
Yeah, so this topic is very alive, I think, in us and in the world
Yeah.
because it's so predominant.
Yeah.
And I would like to get right into it.
Yeah, I mean, just to like follow up, we had a episode called the vegan debate, which opened a discussion for
Open to debate.
it did for um diet and extremes and how us humans sometimes become followers to something that harms us more than helps us.
Yeah.
And
And
it
I
created
think
a lot of division.
that's funny because diet is such like a religion now.
It
People
is.
like stand so strong in their morality of their diet, and they're
Yeah.
like, it's a belief system
Yeah, I
more
get
than
it.
it is a diet now. And it's funny, that's funny to me because I mean, food is medicine. Like, we're intending, the point is in all of us is to eat in a way that makes us healthy,
For sure.
but it's really like switched over into belief system realms. And
Yeah.
it becomes very confusing, I think, for a lot of people, including us in the past,
Yeah.
in like being open-minded and loose. And
Yeah, because it's not like we're sitting here and saying that we were never those kind of people that tried to put on our beliefs and ideas on others. I was one of them. You were one of them.
for sure,
And we were 100% sure that we were right. And
100%.
I think what is interesting in this human psychology is that most of the time in the harmful things that we follow and do, we believe we're right, and there's
I
a
think
disconnect.
all of the time.
And it is, and it's, I would say that construct and concept is what divides us and forever divides us, because we have an idea or a belief and we embody that as truth, and then we come far away from the actual truth, which is just one. There's only one truth.
There is
and
only one
and
truth.
that's actually what humans thrive on and drive on and function on right now.
Yeah.
It's separation.
Yeah, in separation, in the really pure desire for connection.
Yeah.
Such a paradox, but
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it's all coming from just like something needing so badly something and someone to hold on to.
Yeah.
But it does drive division and separation.
Yeah. And I think that's an extremely important topic, because there's something psychological
Psychological.
that is happening in that space, and it's something we all share. And I would say at this point of time, it's very collective.
Mm-hmm.
And we're constantly trying to and I'm guilty too, putting ideas onto each other and making each other go in different direction, and we're
Needing other people to believe in the things that we believe,
yeah.
and not acknowledging what we believe is actually just a belief.
Yeah. And those beliefs dictate our lives,
Completely.
and those beliefs contain a lot of loneliness, which have spread like a pandemic in the world. So here we are, lonely with a tremendous amount of beliefs and trying to put it on other people, and with that moving further away from ourselves and our nature, but also each other,
Mm-hmm.
because we can't agree to it.
Yeah, and our goals, which is to connect with each other.
Yeah. So
And
this vegan debate was really funny, because I think we touched a lot of things. We touched that we believe in grass-fed, organic, non-pasteurized food, and we do not support any other conventional agricultural approaches to
animals or plants.
at all. And there was a lot of people that commented on that. Then there was also this of, but everybody should eat whatever everybody should eat.
Everybody should eat whatever they want.
Yeah.
And we very much believe in intuitive eating. We are not here to tell anybody to subscribe to eating in any certain way. And we agree, everybody should eat what they should eat, and everybody should eat what their body needs. That's the point of food.
Yeah.
But there isn't really like, in that there was a lot of like, well, some people need to be carnivores and some people need to be vegans. And
I think somebody commented that if we were not carnivore, our menopause would be, excuse my language, shit. And I'm like, we should not even be in menopause.
They said that if we were all carnivores, we wouldn't have such difficult menopause.
Yeah. And I said, if we were natural human beings, we wouldn't have menopause at all. We would be fertile to the day we die.
At least into our old age, and then we would just like stop to be fertile very like smoothly and die and then die.
But there's tribes in this world, in Africa, for example, that is fertile to the die, and they have never heard of such thing as menopause or erectile dysfunction or bad or low quality of semen. They're laughing at us, but we are sending money there and thinking that we are better than them because poor Africans, they're so poor there.
Yeah.
But they think the same of us, poor Western people. They're so dumb. And here we are in that conflict of who to believe in.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people out there spreading their opinions, and we are one of them.
And I love it.
And our opinion on the fact is that if anything is presented hard and fast, it shouldn't be followed.
Yeah.
So when we say, for instance, veganism is bad, carnivore diet is bad, we are speaking to the long-term effects on the human body.
Yeah, we're talking into decades, I would even say here.
Yeah, the long-term effects after decades on the human body of restriction.
Yeah.
And what that actually creates. And depending on what your goals are in your life and what your intention is with your body and your life, how that is going to affect that intention and take potentially away from that.
Yeah.
Even if in the moment it feels good.
Yeah.
And also why it feels good in the moment.
Yeah.
So a part of it is, biologically, physiologically, it feels good in the moment because of stuff that you're eliminating. And short term, it probably maybe even is good.
It is good short term.
It is good, for certain people in certain conditions. And it also feels good because it feels good to subscribe to something and follow something and know that you're doing something that other people have done and have tried and have said works.
Yeah.
And you are like a part of that crew.
Yeah.
That's a massively good feeling to be like, I'm a part of this and I know it works because everybody says it does and we're all in this together.
Yeah, and we can connect around that.
Yeah.
Which just speaks into the human being as a whole and the beauty of how empathic and how desire we are, or how much desire we have to really just connect with other people and have a pack.
Yeah, truly. And even speaking to the people who are sharing this information.
Exactly.
It's just so much out of care,
Yeah.
People really want to take care of each other.
Yeah, help each other.
Be taken care of by each other and be helped by each other and trust each other.
Yeah.
And it's a natural biological need
to
follow.
Yeah.
Because you're wired to believe that humans got your back and you're wired to have the back of other humans.
Exactly. And I think that was one of my comment to one of the people who commented on our post with a little bit aggressiveness was, we are every day seeing a lot of women. We're treating hundreds of women that comes in, for example, there's an example that comes in with these mystery illnesses. And when they come in, you can just see how depleted and stressed and overwhelmed and deficient they are in life quality and in life energy. And we're not saying this out of just an empty bag. We're stating these things because we want to help women, especially, to feel better and thrive more and embody the worthiness that they are. And
Mm-hmm.
by that, we are talking. I think this person said, why do you dictate what other people eat? It's not so much about me dictating what other people should eat. It's more about making people aware that is struggling, that there can be some components in their diets or whatsoever that is affecting their health. And that is by helping and advising them in something that mainstream media is trying to put down our throat.
Totally. That's 100% it. And the thing is that when we subscribe in a moment, and there's a lot of components that go into that subscription
Mm-hmm.
of a belief system or a dietary system or whatever, we continue to subscribe blindly into that,
Yeah.
we do end up losing connection to ourselves.
Yeah.
And usually we subscribe into that from a vulnerable, we're all in a vulnerable place, but
Oh my
usually
God.
we
Yeah.
subscribe from a vulnerable place of either illness or compassion or fear, or there's so many emotions involved, and it's always from a place of triggering emotions in
Mm-hmm.
people, that people end up doing dramatic things in their diet or their life or whatever. And in continuing to subscribe, once we go there, we continue to keep ourselves vulnerable, make ourselves even more vulnerable, and actually lose connection. So that when people are saying, for instance, that they are eating intuitively, and intuitively they feel they only need to eat fruit, or they only need to eat steaks and eggs, that's not coming from a place of intuition. That's coming more often than not from a place of fear and from a place of disconnection from self.
Yeah.
And it happens with food for sure. And we just saw this all play out within our comments sections and DMs, in regards to the podcast we just posted. But it also happens in other avenues of life.
Yeah.
This like subscription and follower status out of our hardwired desire to be connected, and these like vulnerabilities that we grow up with.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking about like cults and like how easy it is for people to join cults these days,
It is.
and how within that subscription we only lose ourselves more and more and more and more, and are able to rationalize despite what we feel inside in ourselves and in our connection to self, which is your greatest connection to humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Coming with it within that connection to your essence, we just rationalize why we stay here and continue these practices or these tools or follow these people or believe these things.
Yeah, because there is a deeper loss in it. Because if I should happen to admit that what I'm doing is harming myself, I would have to go through the grief process of losing that connection to something bigger or greater or more connected than myself. And that's a harsh loss. It's harsh to lose that perception.
Yeah,
It hurts.
you have to grieve that.
You have to grieve that. And if there's something we don't really like to do, is to go through those processes of grief, because we have to let go of our ego, and we have to let go of our stubbornness and our connections and our also whatever resonated with us, with that group of people, with those beliefs or ideas. And that's hardcore loss.
Yeah.
And we can even take it bigger to the world, and how there's now many people in this world who is against the construct and societal norms and what is going on. There's many people against it, and there's also many people fighting to not become against it, because losing that you have spent so much time being a part of, that most of your family is a part of, that most of your friends is a part of, that most of your activities is a part of, is, and the amount of years that, for example, people have used to study and work,
The amount of
and
energy and
the
time
amount of
poured into it.
exactly, and you have to then come to the conclusion that this is not a sustainable, natural way of living for a human being, and what is in it is a social construct that we have complied to.
Yeah.
That's massive. That
Yeah.
hurts.
I feel like the first reaction to that is like, oh shit, I really just like wasted
Yeah.
my energy and my time and
Yeah.
my all of this onto this thing or this entity or this club or this group or this society
Yeah.
or this job or this relationship or this diet. And I think that that's not the best way to look at it, because it really does feel like that, and
It
probably is
does.
the process.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, for sure, in so many different ways. I mean, like, we could name them and go into it. And
Yeah.
the truth is that coming into acceptance and being able to shed those layers and shed that skin and shed those belief systems really comes to like acknowledging the fact that there was a part of you that did need to carry those belief systems and subscribe and follow, because again, like, we are wired for support.
Yeah.
We are not here to exist on our own individual journey and make everything up ourselves. And it wasn't a waste.
No.
You needed it. And when it comes to diet, I mean, like, if we want to keep it small, oftentimes when we subscribe to a certain thing for that amount, for until we don't need it anymore, we do need it.
Yeah.
When we subscribe to society until we don't need it, we
Yeah.
do need it. When
Yeah.
even people who join cults,
Yeah.
they need it until
Yeah.
they don't need it.
Yeah.
Religion, all of these things, you do need it until you don't need it. And it's not a waste, it's a crutch to get you
It is a crutch.
Through to the next
Stage.
to the next stage, and to be able to peel that layer off and then step in confidently into the next place. And if we saw that and acknowledged that in ourselves, that is just a process of being human,
Yeah.
and didn't feel so adamant on holding on so tight to those belief systems, because if we let go, then we have just lost so many years of our life and so much energy, then we would be better off for in many, many ways. Life would be easier for us as individuals.
It would. But I get it, and I get the fear around it, because if we should not subscribe to all of these things, the world and these concepts also become a little wicked. And that wickedness and that unknown is hard to connect to. And then what are we then connected to?
Yeah. Yeah, you end up kind of feeling like the world is somewhat of an evil place, and you have nothing but yourself to hold on to.
Yeah, you feel like an outcast. But I also think that that feeling of being an outcast is the next initiation to then truly remember who you are before anybody told you who to be.
Yeah.
And I see it, for example, just to like go into some other subjects than diet, there is religion. There is a lot of people who is at this current moment, and a lot of, we didn't call them conspiracy theorists, but a lot of people who already kind of woke up is now complying and subscribing to, for example, Christianity and neo Christianity, and is now using Jesus as their leader in life. So it also looks like that we break free from the system, we start to move into this unknown and create ourselves and see the world for what it is. And then because it's so scary, because it's really, really scary, because right now there is not another option 100%. It's something we need to create together if we dare to stand in that unknowingness. But from that unknowingness, they then go completely right back and then is now fully baptized Christian and is using Jesus as their subscription.
Yeah, and if you don't believe or agree or whatever, you are just not a part of their club.
No, you are a sinner. From a normal person that, I mean, in my experience, I was friends with and hang out with, and now I'm a sinner. And it's okay. So it's just, I think the part here is that the threshold of standing in that unknown is for many people, and I can completely understand, because I feel it too. Sometimes I just really want to go back into the system and just get a normal work and 9 to 5 and somebody paying me, and I don't have to think about where the money comes from or anything. I can live happily ever after in my little apartment and doing my daily things. I really sometimes desire that,
Yeah.
but that's also a subscription back to something that in the end is not something that is my natural habitual state of being. And the more I stay out here and shaping and forming myself without complying to anything, the more resonance is happening in other people. And maybe one day we can all meet out here in the unknown and create from there.
Yeah. And I think that speaks to like this electromagnetic frequency or electromagnetic world that we live in,
Yeah.
where like we, when and if we connect to our own electromagnetic field really as authentically as possible in that moment, we are able to interact with the external world and create resonance.
Yeah.
And when we don't, when we plug into another
Field.
of energy, and
Yeah.
it can be
Anything.
completely, yeah, outside of like the normal society.
Yeah.
But when we plug into this other field of energy, I think it's called an egregor.
Okay.
It's, but you plug in and you do pour your energy and you do connect with that resonance and disconnect from your authentic self and your authentic resonance
Yeah.
in that field. So
Yeah.
if we, and we do all resonate with nature
Yeah.
as humans. So when you are standing on your own, connecting to yourself and really listening to your own system in what you need, and are able to do that and stand in that without actually plugging into other places and surrendering to that electromagnetic field, that humanness starts to build, and you are
Yeah.
not in fact alone at all. You
Yeah.
are part of earth.
Yeah.
You are an earth being and you are part of earth, and you resonate with earth and with every other human that resonates with earth.
Yeah. Exactly. But then again, that's what people don't, or most of us humans have a hard time to understand and have a hard time to connect to, because most of us, I mean all of us that is living in today's society, was born into this, and our mind and our body is connected to that electromagnetic field, and it has been hijacked from the moment we came out of our mother's womb to think that this is how human lives.
Yeah.
We're even being presented concepts of how we lived back in the days and being told that this is the absolute most modern evolved society. We are being told that we need to have jobs and work, and this is the education system, have a whole catalog with the education that you can take within this world. Like, we are being told that this is what is
Programmed.
and if we think that this is not it, we're being told that we're crazy or conspiracy theorists, or getting a whole history lecturing about how we were cavemen back in the days, and today we're really, I think that we are just living within a belief and an idea that is artificial. And when you take an organism and put it into that artificial construct, they start to identify and relate to that construct, and that's why we're here.
Yeah. And we are also trained so well
So trained.
to identify with that and to fear disconnecting from it.
Yeah.
Like there's so much fear around like, oh, but then what? But then what? But then what? But then what? And
Yeah.
not, we're trained to not have trust in what we feel.
Yeah, constantly. If
from
you
birth.
if you think something else, you are being gaslit by your mom or your dad or the school
Teachers, yeah.
of teachers that is going to debunk that thinking and that free thinking, because you have to stick to the curriculum. And I think there are so many valid questions, and I think children are asking many valid questions about this world that is not really being answered.
Yeah. And then when we get to a point where we are conscious enough, and even I think that children are conscious enough.
I think
I know
children
that
are the most conscious.
I know that. Yeah. And in myself, I know, and in the people I've seen around me and kids growing up, what happens in those systems is they end up just doing the, like, putting the energy in to do the work, to the whatever, and being really disconnected, but not know having any idea of their own connection to themselves. Like
Yeah.
they disconnect even as much as they can within a classroom, for example,
Yeah.
from that energetic system.
Yeah.
But because there's this, like, you unplug, and then the plug is just waving around, and they just plug into something else because
Yeah.
the outlet is like blocked
Yeah.
inside of themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. The root,
The root.
the sense of self, the essence of who we are, the ground of us. There is just another pole to the human being that we, in many decades, I believe, have been completely shut off. And here we are without a root and without a sense of self, being cast around ideas and beliefs with this plug hanging around, and
Plugging into
whatever
all
is
kinds of
strong
things.
enough to like
Pull it.
will pull it. And yeah, I mean, I think it's really sad. I think this topic is maybe what touches me the most, because we as humans just deserve more.
Yeah.
And it's super hard to, first of all, witnessing this, and also feeling, I mean, I'm super sensitive, so on a weekly basis I feel this collective grief of us that is constantly grieving this deeper longing for connection and belonging.
Yeah. And I think that you get really disappointed
I
each
get
time
so
that it, like,
disappointed.
hits you over the head.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh no,
Yeah.
I really had hope for a second there.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, because it's a feeling of not being home. And I just came into this world with the deep desire to wanting to come home.
Homelessness that I think a lot of people do feel.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people don't even feel it because every time they feel a momentary taste of that homelessness,
Yeah.
they go ahead and plug into another system
Yeah.
to feel at home. And I think that's the point, that that craving for feeling home within your life
Yeah.
is the drive to constantly plug in.
Yeah.
And the saddest part to me is the fact that, like, at the end of the day, most people, I think the majority of society, and we were just talking about children,
Yeah.
they disconnect and plug into, like, plug and plug and plug. And at some point, at a pretty early age, you're just exhausted because you've
Yeah.
been giving your energy into so many systems that are just electromagnetically unsustainable for your body to
Yeah.
exist in. You need that plug needs to be in you because you need that circulation of energy. You need that energy to flow from the tips of your toes to the top of your head and be plugged into your root. Otherwise, you're losing it. You are losing energy. You're leaking it into systems that are taking it, and you're agreeing to it.
Yeah.
You're doing it by choice.
Yeah.
And then you get tired and you're just like, at this point, I have no choice because I don't even have the energy to change anything or, like, figure anything else out.
Yeah. And it's a horrible rat race, to be honest, that we have complied to. And I don't know when we started to say yes to this, but it must be when we, from birth, had a system that started from that early age to raise us and tell us what to do and not to do. And by that, taking the autonomy over our own body away. Because I also think, and including myself today, we just don't know. We don't know how to say yes. We don't know who we are. We don't know what we truly want. We don't know our purpose because it's all laid out for us.
Yeah,
And
we've
we then
never.
just identify with that. But I don't think that it's a purpose to, I don't know, work 9 to 5 and come home and do the dishes and I mean, not that there's anything wrong with it, but is it a purpose to just be on autopilot and not be in connection with deeper desires and feelings and longings and just do that? I'm not sure about that.
I don't think it's our purpose. I
I
don't
don't
think
think it's
it's
our
what we
purpose
were
either.
put on this earth to be and do. And I think that the scariest part is the not knowing how it even ever feels to connect to yourself.
Yeah,
That like
that's tough.
we think that we can imagine that many people can imagine that it is in fact your purpose because you'd have never felt any other version
Yeah,
of self
yeah,
or experience or um, exchange with the external world.
yeah. And that exactly what you are saying creates a ripple effect of mental health issues and
Autoimmune
mystery illness
issues.
and autoimmune diseases and all kind of things where we think within ourselves and feel within ourselves, oh, now there's something wrong with me.
Mm,
And all of us, many of us don't even think maybe it's not us, maybe it's how we live and what we are being presented to live.
yeah.
And I mean, I'm very passionate about that. I get so angry because people feel there's something wrong with them when there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. There's something wrong with the life that they're living.
Yeah. And then at that point, when your body starts to break down and scream and
Exactly.
yell, you are too tired. And most people in that state end up plugging into the next system of like,
For
because
sure.
they're so afraid of the pharmaceutical industry and mainstream medicine and just do whatever to me because I need help.
Yeah.
And it hasn't worked. And never, like you said, don't even have the capacity to like, there's something wrong with me and my body, and somebody who I've been told can fix it needs to fix it,
Mm.
and end up in this like path of illness forever until they die. And
Yeah.
instead of like fertility till you die, you're sick until you die.
Yeah.
And
And that's sad.
for a long time, because between that moment, because your system, your body, this system gets so tired
Yeah.
so fast and nothing changes, you get sick pretty these days. People are getting sick pretty early, and the best business is keeping sick people alive
Yeah.
for a long time.
Unfortunately.
It's a great business.
I mean, it's a horrible business.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it makes the moolahs.
I know.
And so that's what a lot of people end up in their, if they're lucky, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s in.
Yeah.
But now, even before that,
Yeah.
maintaining their sickness.
And this is why ideas and beliefs are not a good idea because we subscribe to something outside of ourselves based on the educated parts of ourselves that hasn't plugged in to the natural state of being, and we become customers to a bigger plan that is our own destruction.
Yeah, that reminds me of that documentary we watched where there was a statistic that the most likely people to subscribe to a system um, are highly educated intellectuals. Intellectuals meaning like highly educated by society and intellectual within society
It's
and
people with
high
PhDs
high
and
degrees.
masters and
Yeah,
yeah,
because they are have already been brainwashed into a system.
yeah,
And there's even a concept within the philosophy of science itself that any we create paradigms of science. So this is for all of you who are like, well, where's the scientific evidence?
the con science.
The scientists are here. Everyone is a scientist these days. Show me the peer-reviewed
Don't think
article.
yourself or do your own research. That's really the bad.
But within science, I have done a lot of research. I have killed a lot of rats in the name of science. And and I, in the time that I was doing that, studied the philosophy of science. And
Yeah, you're a
within,
doctor.
yeah, and within that study, if you go look into the philosophy of science, we understand already as the human consciousness that science and scientific ideas exist within paradigms. So within these like energetic systems, and we prove things based on those paradigms. So we create ourselves systems of proving scientifically facts that then we call facts, or initially theories that then we present to the public as facts. But the methods by which we use to prove that are only existing to prove that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and
So
then people become experts in that
no, I mean the whole
fact.
beyond that, our whole society runs underlying all of this that's existing is the current paradigm of science, and
Yeah.
that paradigm changes. You
Exactly.
can change that paradigm of science, but it is a paradigm. It's the truth and the reality that we have chosen to base our system on in that moment, and it has changed in the past and it will change in the future. And your double blind study that your research article is based on, that you're reading and you're like, well, it says in the peer reviewed article that the methods used in that peer reviewed article are created to exclude certain truths.
Yeah.
Naturally, just in their existence, they cannot physically include certain truths within that paradigm. So
Period.
So nothing. Just letting you know.
I think it's yeah, and it's great. So the thing is, and I think the smartest people are the black sheeps out here, even though they sound really dumb on Facebook and Instagram, and you want to call them silver paper hats or whatever, they are tinfoiled hats.
Tinfoiled
Like they have been bullied a lot. These people are people who is not institutionalized and stubborn enough in their own education to admit that this is not right.
Yeah, and those people who do, like, I am educated institutionally,
and your stubbornness come up sometimes.
And yeah, for sure, my stubbornness comes up sometimes. But you can be, if you're like institutionally educated and you have a PhD and whatever you are, you can still plug out and plug into yourself, and you should be able to plug into yourself, because you are not smart unless you can shift your paradigms of thinking. That is true intelligence.
Yeah.
Intellect is not intelligence. Your ability to quickly process information is not necessarily intelligence. Your ability to shift from paradigm to paradigm and see multiple perspectives in multiple dimensions is in fact intelligence, and that is the skills that we should be teaching and working on, considering how many paradigms and systems are existing that will make us critical thinkers and able to plug in and out of things and into ourselves, and
that's the essence of
find the
consciousness.
truth, to connect the truths of all the different things by seeing all the perspectives and feel into the real truth.
Yeah.
And there's one.
Yeah, there's one.
And you can feel it when you hear it.
In this, yeah, we have experienced it with clients so many times. When they feel their own truth, that is connected to most of our truth, which is the sense of self and the connection to this body that we came into and the understanding of this body, we all of a sudden wake up to the concept of, wow, there's nothing wrong with me. My body is trying to tell me things. My body is trying to teach me things. This energy that we manifested into this materialistic world is trying to get to know this form of intelligence and use this form of intelligence in a dynamic way where we can get to know how this biomechanic works.
Yeah.
And instead, we are just constantly out here doing our thing, leaving this behind, not understanding that most of us are energetical beings, souls, whatever you want to call it, that came into this life to land and integrate in this body, and all cellular levels of this body activate, all billion cells, and experience how that feels.
Yeah. And in doing that, it's so amazing. Like, that's amazing that
that's so
that's
cool.
what we're here to do. That's our purpose.
A cool purpose.
But in doing that, the thing that really creates home, that feeling that you're like aching for and searching for, is that when we do it together, when multiple humans are doing it,
such a good feeling.
It's a good feeling because you are communicating within those two electromagnetic beings.
Exactly.
And you're like, and you can feel it. I'm sure many of you have felt it even in like friendships, I hope. But with our clients, we feel it so strongly that when a person comes in and we can speak to a person, the same person, for hours about when we do, about their life, about their symptoms, about what's currently going on and alive. And that same person, when they're connected to themselves, are speaking about their symptoms, and it's true. And that same person on a different occasion or on the same day before we've gotten there to that depth and plugged them in is speaking and speaking and speaking and saying, and they're disconnected from their own, and you are sitting in front of them and you're like, that's not true.
No, it's just empty.
You're not speaking into what's actually true for you, real and authentic for you right now, and you can feel it, and you feel it in your whole body.
We all feel it.
We all feel it. I hope
we are just
that
too
everybody
polite.
has felt it.
Yeah. And in those moments, we're just also too polite, and we allow a lot, right? Because we don't have boundaries, which is another topic which we have talked about.
Yeah.
But we allow this, and then we leak, and then we are all just out here being masked selves and not calling it. I mean, with our clients, I'm very rough. If I feel something,
she can get mean.
I am calling them out, and I'm not saying I'm right, or I'm not saying that I am not projecting anything on them or anything. I'm just mirroring back the feeling of empty talk back to them and being more explorative about how do you actually feel. I hear the story around all your feelings, but what do you actually feel beneath that? Who are you?
Yeah.
You're not your stories, you're not your life, you're not your experiences. That defines you in some way, but there is a you behind all of these norms and societal adaptations and behavioral adaptations that we are trying to get up, because that's the essence that wants to be lived.
100%. And people who are aware often will respond to that like,
thank you.
Or they're like, we had a client the other day that I was like so proud of, actually. She was like, I'm even speaking about this right now, I'm completely disconnected to what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it's none of it is real because I can't connect to the reality of it. That's how disconnected I feel.
Yeah.
And that's like, if I get chills when I say that, because that's the truth, that most of us are that disconnected, but we can only know that when we are at some point connected.
Yeah. And then we learn different languages for those different beliefs and ideas that we adapt to, and then we speak from that. And then we expect that makes sense, and in that we just avoid. We speak from a therapeutic point of knowing how to use the right words, or from a very scientific point knowing how to use or even a religious point where they're using Jesus and his prayings for whatever reason they want to like preach out, and we're using this language that is not really ours, and we become skewed in it, and we skewed ourselves, and we hide ourselves, and that self is not connectable. And in that, we just feel, I sit across this person and I'm lonely.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they're just checked out.
And I have had this experience with people before.
Yeah.
Where they have been in like a certain group of people speaking a certain language and describing, like obviously like agreeing upon something within a certain group of people that I have not witnessed. And then one of those people comes out of that group and tries to be like, oh my God, this is what we talked about. Like, this is the point that we came to, and like explain it. And they can't, because they never actually integrated it, or like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's nonsense. And then they start talking and they're like, wait, this, and sometimes are aware, they're like, wait, this made sense, but like now I don't remember how.
Yeah.
And this like experience of like, wait a minute, this, I knew this within this, but now it doesn't. And that's what most of us are not stepping out.
Yeah.
Are existing within that circle.
Yeah.
Growing that circle, subscribing, and like never even noticing that it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. It's really many
step out and try to explain it to a child.
Yeah.
And see if it makes sense. And if you can make it make sense to a child, maybe
I mean,
it makes sense.
One of those questions is, and I really think that question is really funny. If we came from the apes, why are the apes not evolving into humans right now?
Yeah, why are there still apes? Where are the apes coming from?
I don't understand. If if the earth is running 2 billion kilometers an hour, why am I sitting here in peace?
I mean, it's all like there's a lot of
What was the other thing we talked about the other day that didn't really make sense? I don't remember, but
I
it
don't
was
remember.
something about, I don't even know. But there's just so many things and ideas. I mean, just like the whole religious part. How come women be the transmitter of soul into this earth? They're physically creating life, popping it out of their body, and here there's a human being alive. How come we think that Jesus Christ, God Himself, Allah, whoever it is, people out there, how do we think that this is like the creator of life
The Father, the Son,
and the
and the
Holy
Holy
Spirit?
Spirit.
Where is the woman? Hello.
Searching. Please show yourself.
It's just like these things doesn't make sense. It's ideas that creates feelings because we are so numb, so confused, so in search. I get that many of these things resonate because I think also many of these ideas and beliefs are made to resonate. Like many of, for example, the rules of Christianity are really beautiful. I get it. Like love the next, blah blah blah, like forgiveness and all of these things. It's human values that we want to integrate. But like let's just talk about the in between of all the other things that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, this is the thing. This is why I say that intelligence comes from being able to like hop from paradigm to paradigm and observe from many directions.
But that's the essence of an organism and a cell.
Everything it all has truth. If it had no truth, no one would subscribe.
Yeah.
So everything has some truth. Being able to take the truth out and integrate it and take the parts that do make sense and connect them with all of the other parts that do make sense. Chinese medicine and Western medicine has overlap. There are truths in both. There are things in both that don't make any sense. It goes for everything.
It goes for everything.
Everything. There is truth in it. Doesn't mean that you need to like read the book and repeat the words.
No. You find the truth in it. And like life is a puzzle, right? And we experience life and then we find these small puzzles that is missing within ourselves, and with that we create more life. So that's kind of, I would say that's the analog for how life should be lived.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's if we want to, like simplify it so much. Yeah, like
we're out here gathering information because we're a
Yeah.
cell that want to gather information in order to evolve and in order to support the concept of even evolution. If we're not out here gathering information and being adapting to different strategies and concept and norms, we are not a cell. So if we also want to like talk about science, a cell within itself is based on the concept of creation, where it's moving and it's dynamic and it's out here gathering information in order to create something out of that cell.
Yeah, and it has partial permeability where things can come in and be integrated and used, and some things cannot.
So if that cell is just stuck in a construct between four walls and have adapted to a
book, some rules,
or just a lifestyle that is stagnant, that cell is not evolving. So that also means that in some scientifically out here, if we talk about that, we are in a point right now where evolution has stopped. We're not in our biological being. I know that evolution in the digital realm makes us believe that we are evolving as a human race, and technology has arrived because we have created this AI and all of these things. But biologically, physically, on a deeper level of us, we as human beings have not evolved in many decades, many generations. We're still out here not being able to remember our childhood 100%. We don't even, many of us don't even have access to the memories in our childhood. We
fully losing fertility in our mid 30s,
fully losing fertility, erectile dysfunction
in the 20s.
We have semen that in around 15 years is not going to create any babies. We have what we call an attacking immune system on ourselves, which is not true, but we believe that we are attacking ourselves and killing ourselves. And it's just, if we talk about science in that sense and step out of that box and want to be scientific about this and these ideas and beliefs, we stopped evolution when we complied to beliefs and ideas outside of ourselves.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And I think that that's the thing that makes us actually like the people who are like, AI is going to surpass humanity. Yeah, it is, because humanity is not moving. So, of course it is, because it's programmed to move forward.
Yeah, we're not
digitally
programmed to move forward
when
if
we're
we
stuck.
The thing is, exactly, just to follow up on that, we're not programmed at this current moment on a cellular basis to move forward. We're programmed to be scared about taking a risk, to be scared of going out of our comfort zone, to be scared about choosing against our daily life and our daily rhythm. We are scared of even going out of our four walls and quit our job and do something else. We're scared of not having enough. We're scared of not having food. We're
scared of having kids. We're scared of sharing our opinions.
We're constantly scared.
We're scared of everything.
So
we're scared of
how?
flirting with each other. We're scared of hitting on each other. We're scared of everything.
We're scared of men. We're scared of women.
We're all scared all of the time of everything.
That's not a cell that is, or a combination of a human cell that is in its most greatest evolution ever seen in time. That is a decline of human nature and decline of just the human cell within itself. And that within itself should make people really sad
and laugh or laugh.
And
I mean,
laugh,
it's funny.
because the thing is here, and this is the cool part, we think that we don't really have a choice, right? We think this is it. These four walls is it. If I don't vote Trump, I will vote this, and this is how everything
and
functions.
If I don't vote, then I don't have a say.
Yeah.
I saw somebody else say that. I have to vote because then I can't talk about this.
But we have a choice. And this is my belief, and maybe it's wrong.
Might change.
But I believe that the only way that human evolution can restart and we can start reproduce and we can start evolve as the species we are, that is highly intelligent and very conscious, very dominant also, will start to evolve when we understand that we have a choice, take ourselves out of that concrete jungle and place ourselves in the real greens of life, and understand that we
in the real greens of ourselves.
Yeah, understand that we came from this, and this is the part of us that all of us is just disconnected from, because, oh God, it's so scary. The sense of self, maybe I will be an outsider if I say what I mean, maybe they will reject me, or the attachment to it's just a mess. When we start to move out of that, we actually could change things. But we got to do it together.
And we have to do it together, because that fear is real. Existence of all of this is playing off of that first initial programming we have naturally in our bodies for attachment to other humans.
Yeah.
So it's real. You are afraid. It's real. And when many people do it together, then it's not so scary.
Yeah.
Because then there's still the sense of attachment is still being fulfilled in some way.
Exactly.
But at some point we have to grow up and mature as humans, to the point where we're not being led to our own death as sheep.
Yeah.
Because of our sense of attachment.
Yeah.
We get it. We are conscious of our own sense of attachment, and we're okay, they're using this to take me here. I'm just gonna let it be scary for a second.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna follow.
Yeah.
To that.
Yeah.
To my grave.
And when we let go of that attachment to beliefs and ideas and given societal constructs and recipes, I believe that's where things start to change. And this is my legacy that I'm going to put on this earth. And this is also why we are so adamant on sharing these uncomfortable talks. For example, the vegan debate, because it's so important for us to get out there that we are subscribing to things that is nonsense and doesn't make sense. And it's just so simple when you get it, what makes sense. It's
And
your
it's
feelings, it's your senses, it's your taste buds, it's your vision, it's the nature, it's everything that is evolving and moving around you. That's exactly what is making sense, and that's exactly where we belong.
but instead like, and this is what happens with the vegan debate and everything else, we have come to a point where we're like, there needs to be a place for everything, and we just respond
Fuck no.
robotically for everyone has the space to have their own truth.
No.
It's not everyone has the space to have their own truth, because it's not, they're not connected to their own truth. Everybody does have the space to have their own truth, so take it. That's not your truth. That's the truth of the influencer or the whatever you read somewhere or took somewhere or someone told you that then you're repeating. And then
Yeah.
the go-to is everyone is allowed to have their own truth. Sure, but where's
That's
the
an avoiding mechanism.
I mean, yeah, you are. Everyone's allowed to have their own truth. Everyone should eat how their body feels that they need to eat. How is that? Tell me when you're connected, and then we'll talk about your truth.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, if we're not sitting here and saying that we're
Constantly connected. No,
I'm
no.
constantly not connected, but I'm connected enough to feel that I'm constantly being pulled out of my own route. And there's constantly things and people and platforms and social media that is trying to take my attention and my present, because by that distraction, I will be kept away from my route. That eventually, if I woke up to my route, and eventually, if enough people woke up to that route, we would not comply to that nonsense anymore. And when we do not comply to that nonsense anymore, things is gonna crash and fall and burn. And there is certain companies and institutions and leaders that, and whatever, even ourselves, that don't want to see that happen, because
Individuals, yeah.
it's scary. Evolution is scary. I'm pretty sure when we only had one arm or whatever, I don't know.
When we were monkeys.
When we were monkeys, we thought it was really scary when we needed to stand up. I don't believe that though. But I believe if that's the science, that must have been really scary. All of a sudden, you just look completely different, and you look yourself in the mirror, and you're like, "What is that? Oh, it's a human. I'm a human now." No. Oh my god, where's my hair? I'm feeling cold. Oh my god, I have like whatever. But
So dumb.
but but I mean, it is, evolution is scary and it's painful, and because it's growth, and growth is something that needs to grow up from something. And that's like, we know from childhood, I know I had a lot of pain, growing pain, and I was crying a lot, and it was terrible.
Yeah,
I didn't know what it was, but I just let it happen. And now there's initiation for us to grow further. And we're all out here being, oh, this is too painful. Let me vote Trump. Oh, this is too painful. Let me trust in Jesus. Oh, this is too painful. Let me just work
Follow
my
a
ass
health
off,
influencer.
or yeah, follow health practitioners, or follow us, or whatever. Like, no, like, let's just follow ourselves, because when we come to that essence within ourselves, we can see, and we see this in our clients and ourselves, that there's only one truth. And we have the same truth with many of our clients. We have the same truth. We live different lives, but that sense of belonging, that feeling, that human nature, that's just one truth.
Yeah.
That's just us.
Yeah.
And we are not different in that.
And it's not a subscription.
It's not a subscription. It's our nature. It's what we came in to experience and be and live out. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's intense.
Everything else is avoidance.
Everything else is avoidance, and we're not. I would say, sit and say here, I'm not. I mean, not connected to that all the time. We're
No,
not.
we're avoiding often.
We're avoiding a lot. Like
we wouldn't be here in this space where we are right now if we were constantly connected and never avoiding. It's a part of it.
But my dream, and I think our legacy together also, is to unsubscribe more from this construct of life and start to build community that resonate, first of all, with nature, not being dirty hippies out here, but with nature, where we can have our luxury and our right as human being, live together as tribe, help each other out with our kids, share food together, grow food in our garden, be fertile, have natural activities as fishing and hunting and creation and like pottery, you like that, and these things, and connect to that creativity part of ourselves that we have been pulled away for so long. And I can't wait for our community to finally be established.
Yeah, and grow our kids within that
Grow our kids within
so
that.
that they can feel it, and then when they're whatever years old, they can be like, I hate you guys, where I'm gonna go to Yale. And then come back and be like, oh yeah, that's weird.
I don't think
Shouldn't have
that
done that.
Yale at that point will exist, but that's another talk.
I'm just saying, I'm sure they will also be like, back this, you guys suck, and go off, but at least with the feeling of first having connection to self so that they know always how to come back to themselves.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere in the world. You can be sitting in the middle of Times Square if you and be
Yeah.
fine. It's not that like that shouldn't exist.
No.
It can all exist.
It should all exist, because that's if we open up for that concept, we can exist within this, whatever this is, but still have a strong sense of self.
Yeah.
The problem is just that most of us do not and have never had a strong sense of self, because of society, because of institutions, because of how we have been raised, and just because of the life we're living today. It doesn't encourage a strong sense of self, strong sense of boundaries, a strong sense of desire and needs and wants and purpose.
Yeah.
So that's like number one step to become autonomous over your own energy center, and especially the root, and have a strong sense of self without complying to become a follower to anybody else than yourself and your community.
Yeah.
Whew, I'm like sweaty. This is
You
like,
are passionate.
I'm very passionate about this, because I just wish for all people to have that strong sense of self, because I know the pain that comes with not having it. I mean, I've spent most of my life fighting against myself and rebelling against everybody else, and that has been a super painful life, to have so little feeling of self, yet also feeling and sensing that this doesn't resonate with me. So how, like, it took me to institutions of mental health issues, psychiatrics, all diagnosis, drugs.
Yeah. And that's like coming from a completely normal, healthy environment in the happiest country in the world.
Yeah.
With a great family and da 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 with all the opportunities.
Exactly.
So
I'm passionate about this, because I know that this separation and this concept is just, it's pure suffering. And I don't want people to suffer like that and use so much of their life finding that sense of self. It's our human rights to have a connection to sense of self.
We encourage you all to break some rules, do things as they should not be done, say the politically incorrect things, lose some followers, lose some friends, do all the things, do it differently. And if you can't, or if you would like some physical assistance getting into connection with your essence, we are here for you. We offer essence integration programs where we work with you over a period of 3 months in connection, in creating that deep connection and helping you get there. It's something we're really passionate about. I think it's some of our favorite work.
Yeah,
that we
it is
do.
my favorite work, because it changes people's life, and it's amazing to watch a person become alive.
Yeah. We love it because we see our clients really blossom within that process.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, reach out to us. We are here to offer free consultations, talk to you about where you're at, let you know what we do and what we offer on a more personal level. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your passion and your fire today, mi amor.